Okay, so we are having three different ways to transfer thermal energy: conduction, convection, and radiation. So starting from the first method, that is the conduction process. Okay, so the process of conduction is normally when we talk about conductors or good conductors or bad conductors, so the logic behind the conductor is that those materials which conduct heat and electricity, so those are conductors, and those conductors follow the process of conduction, right? Because they conduct heat and electricity. So now we are only talking about the heat energy or thermal energy. So it means that we have to consider, let's suppose if we are having a burner, let's suppose we are having a burner, and burner is used to heat up different rods. There are different rods which we are going to heat with the help of burner, and these are made up of different material, like this is made up of copper, second one is made up of iron, third one is made up of steel, fourth one is made up of aluminium. So let's suppose we are having different materials and we are providing the same thermal energy or same heat to all the rods. So the capacity or the capability to conduct heat of each material is different, right? Best conductor conduct more amount of heat, and a good or bad conductor will conduct less amount of heat because of different capacity and different capability, right? So basically, we are going to discuss first about the process of conduction. So basically, in conduction process, we are going to make direct contact with the thermal energy source of the conductor, or we require some medium to transfer heat from one place to another. So for writing the definition of conduction, in conduction, we can say that conduction is the flow of, it is the flow of thermal energy through matter from place of high temperature to places of low temperature. Because we know that heat will always flow from high to low, just like the same example of electric current, that electric current will always flow from high potential to low potential, that is from positive to negative. So same goes for the heat, that heat will also flow from high temperature to low temperature, or from hot body to cold body, without movement of the matter as whole. We are not going to transfer or move whole matter. So we are only going to transfer the thermal energy. So that is the process of conduction, right? And example is very simple that on
Yes.
burner or any heat source, we are going to place any conductor. Let's suppose if we are having a hot cup of tea or a coffee, and when we place a spoon in it, so after some time the temperature of the spoon will also rise because now it is getting thermal energy from that hot coffee or from that hot tea. So that is the process of conduction, right? And different examples in our daily life. Let's suppose when we are talking about when someone is cooking, and if uh, he or she plays spoon in it, so it will also get hot because the whole container is already getting thermal energy from the burner, and the liquid or the food in the container is also heat up. It is also absorbing heat from the burner or from the surrounding of that container. So these are some daily life process in which heat is going to transfer by means of conduction, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we know that if we are working with good conductors, so it means good conductors conduct more amount of heat, right? So if we are talking about good conductors, so we know that the capacity of the conduction of these conductors are maximum. And we can also say that the process of conduction is faster in these conductors. And further, if we talk about the cross-sectional area and about the length, so these are some other factors on which conductors will also depend. And let's suppose if we are talking about some other material just like the wood, glass, plastic, fabric, so these are insulators or poor conductors, right? So we know that if we are going to heat up the plastic or if we are going to heat up the wood or glass or these type of material, so these materials will not conduct heat or it will conduct very low amount of or very minor quantity of heat, and after that they start melting or they start just firing up just like the example of wood because they don't conduct heat or electricity. So that's why they are known as poor conductors or insulators, right?
Yes, sir.
And if we talk about water and gases, so water and gases are also work on the principle of conduction. But the rate of conduction is different as compared to the solid, because you know that if we start heating up the water, so it conduct amount of heat for some time, then after it starts converting into the steam or the state of the water is going to be changed. So gas will also absorb some amount of heat, then after that it will start moving in different direction or it is going to change the layers. So in water and gases, the conduction process is not much very good, or we can say that the process is very much slow because water take more time, as we already discussed in a specific heat capacity, to heat up. So that's why we use solid or we use conduction process in solid because we have to transfer heat very quickly, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the concept of the conduction in which we transfer heat from by means of the medium or by means of any other material or the conductors. So normally conduction is good for the conductors or good conductors. So that's why we use term conduction. Or if we talk about the second process, so second process,
Sir,
yes.
could you repeat the water and gas part?
Conduction in gas part.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, normally if we talk about water and gas, so in water and gas, the process is very much slow, right?
Okay.
It means if we talk about water and gas, so liquid and gas conduct thermal energy. So water and gas or liquid or gases conduct thermal energy, but very slow rate with very slow rate or very slowly. So reason is that we already discussed about the specific heat of water. So the specific heat of water is very much high. It means water is a very poor conductor. So that is the reason that water is a very poor thermal conductor. So that's why it will conduct thermal energy or thermal heat very slowly, right? And if we talk about the top surface of water, so we already discussed about the boiling and evaporation process. So top surface of water will start converting into gaseous state, right? So the top layer of the water or the top layer of the water surface start converting into gaseous state or into steam state. So that's why conduction process is not much very good for the water or not. We are not going to transfer very huge amount of heat through water. So that's why water and gases are also, we know that gases molecules are very much far away from each other as compared to liquid. So if liquid is a very bad conductor, so gas will also be a very bad conductor as compared to the liquid, right?
Yes.
Because they have less density. And so one reason is gas is also very less dense and particles are very far away from each other, and it will take more time to transfer energy from one particle to another, so then one place to another. So that's why the process of conduction is very much slow, right? And they don't have regular shape, regular volume, so that's why the transfer of thermal energy will also be in random direction. So that is also a very big problem in liquid and gases, right? So these are some reason due to which the gas and the water are not good conductor of heat energy, or we are not going to transfer the thermal energy with the reference of conduction process, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the second process is convection, and convection is the process for liquid and gases, because in conduction we already discussed about the solids material. So conduction process is very much good for the solid material. But if we talk about liquid and gases, so for liquid and gases, the process is convection. Convection is very good process for liquids. If we talk first about the convection process in liquid, okay, so if we are going to talk about the liquid, so basically in convection process, so basically convection is a process or a method by which thermal energy or heat energy travels through fluids such as liquid and gases. So normally convection process is for the fluids, that is for liquid and gases, right? And if we are going to take a single example of it, so let's suppose if we are having a beaker and beaker is placed on a burner. Okay, so we are going to place a beaker on a burner and we are having a thermal energy over here. And let's suppose we place potassium permanganate in solid form initially, and we are having a liquid in the container, right? So we are having a liquid in a beaker and we also have potassium permanganate in a crystal or in a solid form in the bottom of the beaker, and we are going to provide a heat energy or thermal energy to it. So after some time, what happens with the potassium permanganate?
Will
Because
it dissolve?
yes, it start dissolving, and before dissolving, at initial temperature, fumes, or we can say that a type of flames in form of liquid are going to be travel from this potassium permanganate to the top of the liquid, right? So like clouds are going to be formed of purple color, because potassium permanganate is also like a purple or a pinkish color over there. So clouds or the fumes are going to be produced by this potassium permanganate, which is in a solid form initially, and now it is going to be flow like a cloud or like a flames or a fumes in the liquid because of the convection process, right? Because liquid molecules allow potassium permanganate to flow like a cloud or like a fume in the whole liquid. So that is the example of the convection process, right? Because water, we are going to first discuss about the convection process, that how liquid and gases are going to transfer the thermal energy. So the molecules helps the heat energy or the thermal energy to flow in the whole atmosphere. So that is the process of convection, right?
Okay.
So this is a simple experiment, that the flames which are going to be produced by potassium permanganate, that is going to be spread in the whole liquid in the form of clouds or in the form of flames. So in the same way, heat is going to be distributed in the atmosphere with the reference of liquid or gas molecules, right? So many lava lamps we used in our homes, that also works on the process or the purpose or the principle of the convection process. So that also works on the convection process, and this is a very common example, because potassium permanganate is normally of different colors, so we can easily observe in the water, because water molecules are not visible. So different color or the flames or different color will help you to identify the change in the liquid molecules, right? Okay, further if we talk about the air, so we already discussed that how convection process is going to take place. But one important concept that is included in your syllabus also, if we take the example of a seaside, so let's suppose if we are taking the example of seaside in daytime, so we are having land on right hand side, let's suppose, and we are having a liquid on left hand side, and we are also having a sun. So we are getting thermal energy from the sun in daytime, and we have to compare the thermal energy in daytime of different material because we are having a land over here and we are having a sea water on the left hand side, right? So when we are going to supply heat or the heat is going to be transferred from sun to water and to the land, so which material will get more amount of heat or which absorb more amount of heat, water or land?
Water.
Water.
And
If we are talking about daytime, so normally in daytime, we know that heat is going to be absorbed by water as well as land. But we have to find out that which material will absorb more quickly as compared to the other,
land.
a land, because land is a solid and solid material will conduct more amount of heat as compared to the liquid, right? So it means that in daytime, land absorb. Okay, so land absorbs more amount of heat as compared to the liquid. So, and this is also because the specific heat of water is very much high, so it will take more time to absorb thermal energy as compared to the land, right? Now, if we talk about the convection process, so convection process will be happen like that. Uh, because the temperature of land is very much high, so heat is going to be transferred or transferred through the molecules of air like this, right? So this is the transfer of heat energy or the hot air, which is going to be transferred into the atmosphere or the upper side, right? And then it starts flowing through the clouds, or we can say that this heat is going to be cooled down, or the air of high temperature is going to be cooled down when it is moves through the cloud or move through the atmosphere, right? So it means in daytime cold air will flow from the sea to the land, right? So cold air will flow from seaside to the land side in daytime, and that is known as, this is known as sea breeze, right? So this process is known as sea breeze because air is going to be or cold is going to be flow from sea to the land, right? And in the second process, if we are talk about the night time, so in night time, so if we compare it with the night time, so in night time, now the temperature of water is greater than the temperature of land, right? So temperature of water or liquid is greater than land because in daytime, water absorbs thermal energy and the thermal energy or the specific heat capacity of water is less. So it means it will take more time to absorb thermal energy, and thermal energy is going to be absorbed by the water in daytime, and in night time the temperature of land is less than sea, right? So the previous process we discussed about in daytime, now heat is going to be transferred from the seaside. So the process of convection takes place from the seaside, right? So it means that hot air is going to be flow from the seaside in the night time, and then it adds up into the atmosphere, and then it cools down. So finally in night time, this process is known as land breeze because the temperature of land is less than the temperature of sea. So that's why the cold air is going to be flow from land to the sea water, right?
Yes.
So this is the process of convection in air, and this is the specific example which is included in our daily life. So sometimes they ask about sea breeze and land breeze. So land breeze and sea breeze will help like this, that hot air will flow from land to atmosphere in daytime, and in nighttime hot air will flow from liquid to the atmosphere, and cold air will flow from land to sea, and in daytime cold air will flow from sea to the land, right?
Yes.
So this is the process of convection in air.